in our full table copy video, we have copied over 1 billion records from on-prem SQL Server to Fabric Warehouse. Now, let's say we want to compare that the data being copied is being copied correctly. We can do so even in full table copy mode by enabling validation, post-copy validation, but we can do even more things if we go with a dedicated data compare and sync project type. So if I click new project here and select data compare and sync, we can see that it does data comparison between source and target table, but it also does on-demand change replication. What this means is we'll compare your source and target tables, and if there are any differences between source and target, we'll figure out exactly what the differences are and apply a minimum set of changes to target tables to bring them in sync to the source. Let's see how this works. So I'm going to click data compare and sync, select SQL Server, same source database, and then Fabric Warehouse, same warehouse, click next, and done. Okay, so we're now waiting for the metadata information to be read from the databases. And now when we compare this overview screen to the overview screen when we used to have full table copy project, there is a difference here in the upper right corner. Instead of load data, we have comparison and replication button. And additionally, they're disabled because some selected tables have problems. Let's investigate. We're going to table screen. The problems are because a lot of these target tables that do not exist because we didn't copy the whole source database. We didn't copy a few tables. So if I deselect everything and go and create a filter 100n, I can select this 100 small 100m_1. Now if I click show selected only, we can see that I have created just one table. I have selected just one table. I can also select 1 billion record table. It's gonna take a little bit longer. So let's, in the interest of time, compare just 100 million records. If we can say that's just. So now if I click comparison button, we're gonna be processing this again using this highly parallel engine where we split the source table into roughly equal parts and compare them in parallel for great performance. So we have compared 50 million records, 60 million records, and we'll be done in a few more seconds. And if our full table copy process was correct, then we will detect no differences between source and target table. So let's see. Yep, all tables are equal. As we have selected just 100 million records are equal here. All right, so now let's go into SQL Server Management Studio, and I have connected to this Fabric Warehouse instance, and I'm gonna make some changes here. So I'm gonna be deleting 301 records and updating, what is this, 32, I think. All right, now if I go back to the project and compare again, we should be detecting 301 added record to the source data, to the source table. Because if we have deleted 301 on the target, it's the same as when comparison goes and compares them. It basically is exactly the same as if we have inserted 301 records to the source, right? So we should be detecting 301 inserts and 32 changes. Okay, now if we do this comparison several times, we'll have exactly the same result here, right? So if I click here, we even have a nice grid. And the grid says, okay, what are the changes? The changes are because we have multiplied by 2 in the range, multiplied another field by 3 in the range, and we can actually see this happening here, plus we have added records. Okay, so now if I go back to the project, if I click comparison again, we're going to be having the same result. If I click replication again, Omni Loader will do a full comparison like before, but it will then also use the difference detection to execute statements on the target in such a way that it fixes the differences. So it will insert these 301 records. It will update these 32 records. So the target table will be exactly the same as source. So think of this as on-demand replication where you can compare and then you can touch up the target tables to bring them in sync with the source. So we have now been inserting, we're now updating, and in just a few more seconds, we'll bring those records to be exactly the same source and target. So after this is done, we can recompare again, and it will detect no difference at all. So yeah, basically it says what it did, edit 301, change 32. Now I can do replication again. It will do full comparison pass, and then it will do the change replication, but as it will not detect any changes, basically it will be exactly the same as if we just did comparison here. Of course, I could have selected our billion record table. It will be also very fast, but it would take longer because it's a much larger table. So I have selected just one for this demo video here. As expected, now all tables are equal.